go live time, okay? You're on mute.
Okay, we should be good.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deseronto's regular council meeting Wednesday, January 27th at 7:23. We're starting a little late because our special meeting of council prior to this for planning went a little bit longer. We had some healthy conversations, so it's never bad when they go a little bit longer because of healthy conversation. With that being said, we have an agenda in front of us. May I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda?
I move the amended agenda that came out today, please, sir.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please, for said amendment? Sorry, may I have a seconder for the agenda?
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. Any disclosure of interest tonight? Hearing none. Carried. So I'm using I don't think I'm using the amended agenda. So I'm going to watch yours, Christine, because my first agenda had hyperlinks and they find it a little bit easier. So with that being said, I will take a motion to approve minutes 4.1 through to 4.3, pages 4 through to 15, pertaining to public planning meeting of January 13th, regular council January 13th, special council January 20. What are council's wishes? May I have a motion for all three agendas, or I could take them separately, whatever council chooses.
Councillor Hudson, I would approve all three agendas.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. May I have a seconder, please?
Everhardis.
Thank you very much, Deputy. Any objection? I am hearing none. Carried. We have no deputations or presentations for this meeting. No variance report. We do have schedule of accounts 2-2020 for the value, for a little value of $83,024 and 13 cents. What are council's wishes?
Councillor Hudson, I would approve if found to be true.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please, for the motion to accept the schedule of accounts?
Second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Perfect. Carried. Thank you. Next, we have the CAO report. The CAO report is just tidy. It's pages 19 through to 158. So that's it's correspondence 8.1. May I have a motion, please, to get this on the table?
Everhardis, so moved.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Hudson.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Deputy Mayor, you have the floor for discussion purposes.
Thank you. Just a couple of points tonight, Mayor. The MBQ proposed development. This, of course, is probably going to talk about water and sewer as well. And I remember this past year we made a MOU with MBQ to forward any proposals to us that are in the works. I'm just wondering through you to staff if MBQ has filled out all the proposals that will impact the Deseronto water and sewer system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Through me to staff, CAO.
We are currently just receiving this information secondhand through the engineer, as MBQ has contracted our engineer to do their design. I expect once they have a plan in place, they will come to us with a proposal.
Just one more quick question. Was the MOU executed? Thank you.
Thank you. CAO, I believe that question is directed through me to you.
No, it hasn't been executed yet. It was on our end, but we haven't been successful in creating a joint meeting. We've had meetings on their water and sewer and council. They asked for approval, but we haven't had a meeting since then.
If I may, Your Worship, we've been working really in good faith with our partners in MBQ. We have approved many plans. We have approved a major plan that will definitely improve life in their community. I was on the assumption that that MOU would have been easy and quickly signed. If it hasn't been, I think council should be making a further request to MBQ to expedite that process. It's important for both our communities to have predictability when it comes to water and sewer. It's an essential service, and I think it's important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. To that point, CAO, can you please reach out to the MBQ? Let's schedule a meeting for Q2 of 2020.
I
One,
will. I've
at that time, I believe that we were discussing having the year's worth of meetings discussed. Can you please find out the frequency of meetings that are required? Obviously, we can have them as required, but I'd like to have some sort of structure in place moving forward. So if you can provide something back, that'd be perfect. Deputy Mayor, any further comment?
Yeah, I thank the CAO for her work on getting that information from Greater Napanee in regards to the dog pound agreement. And I appreciate the time needed for sidewalk plowing policy. And I think it's advisable that we accept the recommendation to defer it until the first meeting in February.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from you at this time, sir?
Thanks again for the pandemic review. I think maybe we should direct staff to update that according to the new regulations. It's a good framework. Let's use the regulations, the most recent ones, and we'll use that as our framework to continue to update.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other further comment from anyone at the table with respect to the CAO report as presented?
Councillor
Any
Hudson.
questions? Yes, absolutely, Councillor.
Just with regards to the sidewalk plowing policy and the map, I know there's been a lot of discussion, and I agree with Mr. Everhardis's comments. Just making sure that there is a look into maybe some past comments or complaints with regards to the sidewalk plowing policy and map to make sure that all of the priority places are being met. I've had a few community constituents approach me just about different places of the map that aren't included. So I'm just hoping that that kind of issue will be addressed moving forward.
So, Councillor Hudson, once this comes back to council, we will have the opportunity for sure to increase any service enhancements or to put our thoughts forward. There are some from previous conversations. I do know that many council members. I do still encourage any council member. Please please reach out to the CAO. Let her know some specific areas that maybe be able to be included in that conversation. And so when it does come back to us, that we'll be able to have the most fruitful conversation that we can with as many answers as possible. Okay.
Great, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Any other comments with respect to the CAO report before I ask if there's any objections to receiving it? I'm hearing none. Any objection? None. Carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to the Culture and Recreation Committee report, pages 159 through to 160, correspondence 8.2. What are council's wishes?
Councillor Hudson, move for conversation if necessary.
Thank you very much. So I have a motion from Councillor Hudson to put it on the table for discussion purposes. May I have a seconder, please, for that motion to get the conversation going? May I have a seconder, please, just to get the motion on the table for discussion purposes, please?
I'd so move, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. It's on the table. Councillor Hudson, you're up. Do you have any comments with respect to this?
So I feel like the committee is kind of getting into a flow. We're kind of hit and miss. Obviously, with the pandemic happening, it makes it hard to do recreational activities. But I feel like the committee is still kind of very committed to working forward in creating some sort of ideas that come from the community that complement our community events and things that we could utilize outside of the pandemic. So I think that's probably what you'll see kind of in our report this week. We've continued conversations about what kind of things can we do outside of ice time, what kind of things could the community use outside of the pandemic. Obviously, we need to adhere to all those protocols, but utilizing that time to bring the community forward in having those conversations still.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Councillor Hudson, can I direct your attention, please, to item 3A from this piece of correspondence? Just looking for some further comments or clarification, please. It's the recommendation to council. So if this report were to pass with that recommendation, there is programming outlines that are in there looking for council's approval. We've yet to set the 2021 budget for recreation at this point in time, which I'm sure that there will be a provision. I just want to get your comments on that specifically, please, Councillor. Unless I'm interpreting the documentation incorrectly.
Nope, I'm looking at the same thing you are. So you were saying 3A, whereas the committee considers to the provision of activities based on the recreation survey. Committee members review the activities important to the community. Program serving as of February 14th pending COVID. That's the one you're looking at?
That is correct. Yes. So there is a program itinerary for recreational ideas. We've yet to set a budget.
Yes.
I just don't want to set unrealistic expectations for the committee. That's all, because
No,
there is
and
definitely.
I hope you know the committee is fully understanding of the process of, as far as I'm concerned, and understanding how the committee works, and is everything is coming to council for council approval, and that will come back to the committee. So any ideas that are coming forth in this documentation, that is for council approval to come back to the committee. And as it says, to pandemic provisions. So obviously we're going through a time right now where it's unknown day to day. So I think that's what's trying to be addressed there. If at any point in time we can move forward with off ice activities, I think that's what it means. But obviously we know at this point in time, that's something that is in the very far future.
Thank you very much. Anybody else from council? I believe Councillor Clark made a comment with respects to, sorry, Councillor Clark was the seconder on this motion to get this on the table for discussion. Councillor Clark, do you have any comments with respects to this document?
No, not really, Your Honour. It's interesting reading, and it appears as though the committee is doing quite a bit of work, and I would just encourage them to keep it up. But I don't have really any comments on the report.
Thank you very much, sir. So I have a motion to discuss. We've done that. Do I have a motion to receive?
Mayor,
Sir?
just one point here.
Yes.
I don't think there's actually a recommendation in this motion. I'm trying to find one. I think it's just for information purposes.
Can we remove that title then, recommendation to council, and call it information?
I think that's, I'm digging for a recommendation. So I think maybe we just receive the information because it's great information, but I don't think we can act yet due to budgetary constraints and COVID-19. So that was my concern as well, sir.
Yeah,
I move that we receive this information, and then we can encourage the committee to continue on.
I will take that motion, see if I can get a seconder.
I'll second that, Your Honour.
Thank you very much. Any discussion required? Any opposition to just receiving the document? I'm hearing none. Carried. Thank you very much, council. Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson, for your insight at the beginning.
On a point of order tonight, because this is our first Zoom meeting where some of us are physically on camera, to assist the chair, would you prefer us to speak up when we want to second, move, discuss, and then vote? Or is it all right for voting if we indicate on camera?
I would say I have no problem asking if there's any objections and having someone speak up. For those who feel comfortable raising their hand, I will watch. And if you raise your hand icon, I will definitely give you the opportunity to speak. For those who don't feel comfortable using that icon, if I hear you, I will find, I will give you the opportunity to speak, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to committee board minute meetings, 9.1 and 9.2. We have pages 161 through to 172. What are council's wishes?
Everhardis, I've moved both to get on the table for just a quick point of discussion.
Thank you very much, sir. May I have a seconder, please, for the deputy mayor's motion?
Counselor Hudson,
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. It's on the table, Deputy Mayor. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm just trying to find, I made a note, and of course, in digital documents, surfing through things is fun. But it looked like the minutes that were just had for that committee on Monday of last week are here. And if they are, did the committee approve those minutes? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna have to defer to Councillor Hudson as our representative. Councillor Hudson?
yeah, absolutely. The minutes were approved through the chair and the recording secretary, myself and Patrick, as of, I think it was yesterday, and the minutes were sent out either yesterday or today. I apologize for the timeline. I can go in my email to make sure that I'm factual there.
That's satisfactory. Thank you, Councillor Hudson.
Okay.
Any further clarification required or any more comment from you, Deputy?
No, I move that those two minutes be received.
Thank you very much. Any other comment or questions from anybody else from council? Hearing none. Any objections to receiving? Hearing none. Carried. Thank you. Moving on to action items. Action items 10.1, 173 to 177, 2021 gas tax program. What are council's wishes?
Everhardis, I move that we approve.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Smith.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. (10.2). Pages 178 through to 179. What are council's
Everhardis,
wishes? Yes.
I move for discussion.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please?
Counselor Hudson,
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Deputy Mayor, let's discuss.
Thank you, sir. Considering staff time and recognizing federal and provincial jurisdiction, I know this is coming from a federal member of parliament. Healthcare is a provincial jurisdiction where the federal government tends to try to indicate that it wants certain things. I am supportive of pharmacare and universal pharmacare. I think it's important. However, I do not think at this point this support is necessarily going to get any results. And due to staff time and COVID-19, although I am supportive, I will not be moving that a letter be sent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion from council?
Counselor Hudson.
Yeah.
I would happen to agree with Mr. Everhardis and researching the issue. I do support the member of parliament in what he's doing as far as pharmacare is concerned. But at the same time, I would agree that a letter of support from our municipality might not make the biggest difference at this time, whether I agree with what he's doing or not.
Thank you very much. Any other further comment from council? Okay, so we had some discussion. I've heard from some council members. Do I have a motion to do something with this? We could receive it simply.
That would be my motion, sir, Everhardis.
Okay, so I have a motion to
Seconded.
receive and file. And do I have a seconder?
Seconded, Counselor Hudson.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. Any discussion from any other member of council required? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. Second, 10.3, request from Hastings County Historical Society, pages 180 through to 181. Council's wishes.
Everhardis,
Yes.
I move we receive.
Thank you very much. May I have seconder, please, for that motion?
Councillor
I would
Hudson
second
received
that.
in conversation.
Thank you very much. I will take Councillor Clark as the second, but I'll give you a first shot at conversation, Councillor Hudson. You've got the floor, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I just thought when I read through this correspondence, I don't know if there's anything we can do to also promote just kind of a cool idea. Moving forward, I'm not sure. I know we can't directly connect our historical society in any way like that. I just think, I guess conversationally, it's a really cool idea. Not sure what we can do with it.
Thank you very much.
Everhardis?
Deputy Mayor?
Traditionally, the Hastings County Historical Society, through its programs, has tended to omit Deseronto. Being a history teacher in the Hastings Prince Edward School Board, I can confirm we're very rarely mentioned in their periodical newsletter. Occasionally, they'll have a guest speaker, but only in a rare blue moon occasion. I would encourage the Historical Society to certainly come down to Deseronto. We have a unique history here. We're the only company-owned town in the history of the province, maybe except Deloro, so we're a little more significant. They haven't used us to do any of their historical plaquing programs. So, at this point, I would encourage the Historical Society to reach out. Love to talk to them about Deseronto history, but to take staff time, I don't think is appropriate during COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy. So I have a motion to receive and file. We've had some conversation. Anybody else? Councillor Clark, you were the second. Would you like to comment at all before I move on and just say all in favor?
Receive and file.
No, I just echo.
I'll get right to you next, Councillor. Sorry, Councillor Clark. My apologies. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to echo what Deputy Everhardis has said. Deseronto, I think we need to have a visit paid by them more often and maybe be included in a lot more of their activity.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hudson, I heard you commenting. Would you like any further comment?
No, I agree. And I just think that if anybody knows anybody who would be interested in this initiative, pass it along outside of the municipal realm.
Thank you very much. I have a motion to receive, had some conversation. Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to correspondence 10.4, pages 182 through to 190. Hastings County Emergency Response Agreement Request from Doug Saka. What are council's wishes?
Everhardis, move to discuss.
May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Hudson.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Deputy Mayor?
I think this is really important, but I do have a very important question. Since we are in the extreme southeast corner of Hastings County, and often it is Lennox and Addington ambulances that are deployed because of the central provincial deployment system, how does this actually relate? Because it seems to me rarely we get an ambulance from the Belleville Dispatch. It's from Lennox and Addington. How does this all cross together? And I don't know if that's to you, sir, as the county representative, or to staff, but I would like to see how the logistics work on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. What I would do is anything related to the county, I would have to get further clarification on for specifics, Deputy Mayor. But would the CAO have any further comment?
The only comment is that when I received it, I sent it immediately to the chief. It's been vetted through Chief Brinklow as well as the medical officer, B. Johnston. And the email I got was, please put this in council. We recommend you proceed. If there's further questions, I suggest maybe contacting the fire chief directly.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, do you have any further questions? Do you have any specific questions? Obviously, I don't think anything got answered because I don't think there was anything really asked.
Yeah.
I think the comment was made that it was vetted through our staff.
Yeah.
I have no issue waiting for further clarification, if you have further clarification required, or if any council
Well-
chooses to.
This is an agreement with Hastings Quinte Paramedic Services, correct? And
That is correct.
often it's in Lennox and Addington ambulance that's deployed. I know Hastings, Quinte, and Lennox and Addington have a backfilling system in their background, but this is a request for service in case of, and I want to make sure that we wouldn't be treading on the ambulance provider that actually provides most of the service. The Feds Toronto Fire Department have been doing tremendous support work for years, and I wouldn't want to stop that as well. I know often our fire trucks are there before the ambulance, and that's sometimes critical life-saving work. Erring on the side of caution, I would agree to this in principle, but I would like Lennox and Addington ambulance comment just to make sure we're not doing something that would be not constructive with their policies and practices. Thank you.
Christine, maybe it would be prudent for us just to reach out to Doug and maybe get comment from Doug as well with respects. Deputy Mayor, I don't fully, just like everyone else at the council table, I don't fully understand exactly the agreements that the Hastings County Paramedic Service has with Lennox and Addington Paramedic Services. I know that there is something. I know that it was vetted by our staff, as the CEO just said. So in order to get full confirmation of how that alignment works, we would have to reach out to Hastings or request that specific comment. So Christine, so reaching out, I guess the question, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
Maybe to expedite it, if I could move that we agree to this agreement as long as Lennox and Addington ambulance is good for it.
I would say that's probably most appropriate. I've because being part of Hastings County, I've had an opportunity to speak with Doug multiple times. Doug's very capable, very, very competent. I would have no doubt in my mind that they're in alignment with Lennox and Addington, but I think that's a very good motion just to ensure that all bases are covered. So the motion is to accept in principle, just verifying that it does not cause any disruption in service from our current agreements that we may have. Is that correct, sir?
Generally, current agreements, we don't actually have a physical agreement, but they are our de facto
Service
provider.
delivery commitment.
Yeah, perfect.
So that would be your motion?
And if so, authorize the mayor and CEO to sign on behalf of Deseronto.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder for that motion, please?
I'll second that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Any further comments or questions required? Any objection? I'm hearing none. Carried. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Anyone have a question? Nope. Okay. I have information items requiring no action. Items 11.1 through to 11.6, 191 through to 282. Council's wishes, please.
I move that those 6 items are received and filed.
Thank you very much. I hear the Deputy Mayor put a full motion out there, but I also heard Councillor Hudson in the background. Councillor Hudson, do you support that motion?
Exact same motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. So I have a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence 11.1 through to 11.6. Any objection? Hearing none? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to the next order of business, we have new business. 12.1, a report from myself to council, pages 283 to 285. So thank you, council. Council, we discussed coming to our midterm at the end of December, and we're engaging into planning talks, planning initiatives. You've all reached out to me. You've all given me your thoughts and opinions. One thing that I've been hearing from council over the last 2 years is that they want an opportunity and an avenue in order to start participating and having a chance to table their thoughts, their opinions, their initiatives in a different format than just simply at the council table. I've been on council for quite some time, and so has others on council. And we remember when we did have committee structures. So And that gave all council members the opportunity to have something away from the council table to work on and to help build relationships with staff and with each other, and to get a good cross-section of the community's wishes out there in a way that's most effective. So what I've done is I've put together a document for council consideration of proposed council committee structures that I would like council's consideration for here tonight. So I feel that by implementing these committees, it would help council forward the municipal agenda and better serve all of our community. It also give all of council members a platform outside of regular council meetings to accomplish their goals and to voice their opinions. It would increase council's engagement with staff and all of our departments, and it would provide additional insight and understanding to the overall workings of our community and our administration. So what I am proposing for these new committee structures would be as followed. A lot of interest in planning and development. We've heard it. We just went through an hour and some change of a meeting with respects to planning and development. This is an area that's taking off. This is an area that we may potentially be investing in moving forward. So what I would like to look at is forming an official planning and development committee that would have all members of council involved with this, and the mayor would be the chair. The frequency of these meetings would be quarterly and based on needs. The responsibilities of this committee would be to lay out strategies for future development. It would be to discuss land use and planning matters. It would to be work with the joint BIS service, or the Joint Business Inspection Services, and the Committee of Adjustments and Land Development. That's committee one. Committee two would be a finance and administration committee. The chair would be determined at the inaugural meeting of the committee. The purpose of this would be provide guidance and recommendations to council pertaining to the finances and the general administration of our town. The members I am proposing to appoint to this committee would be Deputy Mayor Everhardis, Councillor Smith, and myself. We would sit on this committee. The frequency, so the committee would discuss issues. They would also have to come back to council for further approval and further discussion. This is a steering committee to provide council guidance and to help to do research in between council meetings. The frequency of this would be once a month or required by the base and determined by the committee. The responsibilities of this committee would include but not limited to the administration and the operations and the information outlined in my report. In addition, it would help to work with staff and to steer council towards the municipal budget process and the grant review and preparation. In addition, another area of the community that I feel that would benefit from having another committee would be revitalization, tourism, recreation, and culture. In the past, we've had an economic and development committee, and this is very similar. So let all of council know, what I did was I had staff pull the previous procedural bylaws with respects to the old committee structure that we had prior, and I picked out what I believe that council wants to accomplish based on feedback from you to me, based on your feedback that you provided me in writing, and based on conversations that I've had working with you at a professional capacity. With that being said, the purpose of this new committee would be to provide guidance and recommendations to council pertaining to the revitalization, tourism, and the culture and recreation of our community. The chair will be determined at the inaugural meeting of this committee. Who I am proposing to appoint to this committee are those who have shown interest and expertise in this area. I have Councillor Clark, Councillor Hudson, and myself. The frequency of this meeting would be once a month or required and based on need. The responsibilities of this committee will include, but not be limited to, the development of strategies to provide recommendations to council pertaining to those following ideas. In addition, all other additional matters pertaining to municipal services as shown for the operations of our community are as such. I'm asking that council accepts the proposed committee structure and present it to staff for further to draft a bylaw and to implement the creation of these committees and assignments. Obviously, we will have logistical concerns with respects to what we're trying to do. 3 members in attendance will constitute a council meeting, so it will require staff, it will require minutes. No different than what we've done in the past when implementing committee structures in the past. So that's what I have for council's consideration. May I please have a motion to get on the table for further discussion by all of council, please?
I would so move, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor Everhardis.
Thank you very much, Councillor Everhardis. Or sorry, you're not Councillor Everhardis, you're Deputy Mayor. You called yourself Councillor, sir.
I'm taking $1,000 pay cut, I guess, Dan. Deputy Mayor Everhardis.
Thank you very much. Councillor Clark, you put the motion forward to get it on the table for discussion purposes. I'm going to start the conversation with you, sir.
It's pretty simple as far as I'm concerned, Your Honour. As you know, and I believe Councillor or Deputy Everhardis knows, in the past, councils had committees and they worked well. You have split them up into different committees, which look to be pretty good. And it's the committee's responsibility to function under the headings of what they've got. Now, the committee, as far as I would be concerned, the committee, they sit, they discuss, they decide, but they would be guided by the CEO as far as what they could do and are we in the right direction and so on. My own personal opinion is that it gives a councillor, I just don't know how to say it, it gives a councillor, they feel more involved in council rather than just coming to a council meeting, sitting at a council meeting. They have the opportunity to sit on a committee and actually do things under the committee and then bring it to council. And I just found during my time in council that the committee system was good, and we got a fair amount of stuff done. And it's not left up to the staff because we're a small community and we don't have many staff. And sometimes we're too quick to say, oh, let staff do it, let staff do this, let staff do that. Well, under the committee system, the committee would do a lot of that stuff, verify it through the CEO that it's correct, but it would relieve the staff of some of the work that they have to do, because as we all know, they're burdened with a lot of stuff being in a small community. And I just found when there was a committee system, it helped the staff, but it also helped council because they seemed to be more involved in making the decisions and having the input of things that they wanted to see. And my recommendation would be that we at least try the committee system and see how it goes. I know I enjoyed it, and I don't know about the other people, but I certainly found council really interesting when we were in the committee system. Thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you very much, sir. And that's the exact same type of feedback, Councillor Clark, that I wanted to take. It's been about 4 years now since we've had council committees per se in the traditional sense. I remember I was deputy mayor at the time that they were disbanded. But listening to the feedback provided and similar to what you've just provided, that's why I thought that it would be nice to bring this towards council and just to see what council's thoughts are, and for those exact same reasons that you mentioned, sir. So thank you.
Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. Go ahead.
Sorry, just a question if it's appropriate at the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I understand, like, I'm trying to word it properly. I know a few of us are on different committees. So this delegation of committee, I apologize if I don't fully understand. Is it separate to the committees that are already existing, or is it complementary?
It would be a subcommittee of council in order to help put council's wishes forth and to assist with, as Councillor Clark said, some of the additional workload. As far as certain committees that we're on currently, say example, your recreation committee that you sit on now, it would fall under the responsibility of the committee that I outlined as Revitalization, Tourism, Recreation, and Council. In that, it breaks down that part of their responsibilities will be recreation programming, and by default, it would have to deal with the committee that you're on. So, in all fairness, does it run complementary? Yes. Parallel to what you're doing? Yes. But it's a subcommittee of council by appointment of council members. Yes.
Okay, great. No, that fully answers my question completely. Thank you.
So in all fairness, Councillor Hudson, what it does is it just amps up your ability to get your voice out and to forward some of the initiatives that you might have heard or might have run your campaign on. So it gives you just an addition, gives all of council the opportunity to brainstorm and bring out the best counsel for this community.
Totally understandable. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, you were the seconder on this. Do you have any comments, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. Generally, I'm very pleased that this is coming out at this point. After 2 years of this council, we have a council that has plenty of ideas and has demonstrated a need and a desire to help Deseronto. I think this structure will allow us to use our greatest skills as individuals to move our community forward in a variety of ways. What I like about this structure is it does not necessarily align committees with a department. Rather, it aligns them with an initiative. And I think that's so important.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We've
sir.
talked about promoting interdepartmental relationships, making the community more efficient, more easy to work as a whole. This is going to provide that sort of guidance. I look at both of the two committees where we're divided into groups and teams, and it looks like, multiple departments are going to be involved, multiple staff. This could be a really effective way of preparing some recommendations for the entirety of council. I'm also very pleased that planning has made a whole team event. I think planning is going to be so critical. Looking at our situation right now in Deseronto, it's evident that our community is more desired and wanted than ever. People want to live here. Houses are selling like hotcakes. I think right now there is only one home listed on MLS from Deseronto, just one. There's just parcels of vacant land. So planning and making sure we're making more properties available and developing them in a way that's holistic. I was so pleased tonight that it was acknowledged that we have some issues in Deseronto with our housing. We don't have that life cycle of housing that we need. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson mentioned it's so hard to buy a house here as a young person because there isn't enough homes to buy, because people who want to get out of them and retire into smaller, lower maintenance homes don't have smaller, lower maintenance homes to move to. So the cycle is broken, and I think we could address that here. I think this will require a little bit more commitment from council, but I think once it's up and running, the recommendations these committees and the work these committees can do will certainly, I think, enhance the community. And I'm 100% behind the appointments, the people on these committees, and the general direction of the committees. And I would certainly, when it comes time to it, we move in this direction. So thank you for your hard work in preparing this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. And thank you very much for pointing out the fact that that these are not aligned with any department specifically. When designing this concept, I really wanted to take into consideration the needs of our community, and that's all the needs. That's the needs of being able to make sure that our staff are empowered and have the fluidity in order to do what's done to what's required to maintain the daily operations of our community. And these are simply steering committees for larger pictures, larger strategic planning, but leaving the daily responsibilities of the departments and such to the responsibilities of the CAO and her staff. I think this would be the best way to integrate a committee structure that would work to optimize all for Deseronto. So thank you very much for your words. Councillor Smith, do you have any comments on this at all?
No, not really, Your Honor.
Do you need any clarification, or do you understand where we're heading? Where we're heading with this?
I pretty much got where you're heading with it, yeah, from what's been said so far.
Perfect. I want to let everybody know that the appointments of the members of these committees, they will be done by motion. There will be a bylaw to implement the committees as part of our procedural bylaw, but the appointment of the members will be done by motion. This would give us the flexibility to switch up in 2022 if certain members decided that they wanted to switch departments or switch committees, like go from finance to tourism to finance, in order to give a good blend of experience to all of our council. So please understand there will be some ability to move around within these committees, but all the committee decisions will come back to council for final debate and final approval. approval. But I just wanted to be fair with everybody, let you know that the appointments will be done by motion in order to give us the flexibility to intermingle within departments within committees if we choose to. So what we would require is some a bylaw and proper verbiage. So what I would request is that council accepts the motion, that council accepts this committee structure presented, and that staff be instructed to draft a bylaw to implement the creation of these committees and assignments and brought back to council for review and approval for our first council meeting in February for regular council. My intent is I'd like to get through the budgetary process. I do not want to bog down that process at all. And these committees would commence in Q2 of 2021. The budget process, we're all involved with that. It's part of a larger discussion. I think in order to stay laser focused on what needs to be done there, I think it'd be best that we just start planning our ideas, our thoughts, our direction for these committees, and allow the opportunity to complete the budgetary process before we start implementing committees. That's my intent. So what are council's wishes?
Everhardis?
Yes, sir.
I think your requested motion is very appropriate. I would have just a friendly amendment that instead of staff draft a bylaw, I would also add and any amendments to the procedural bylaw as required. So
thank you very much.
I move that and look forward to discussion on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I have a seconder, please, for the deputy mayor's motion?
I'd second that, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Any further discussion or clarity required before I ask all in favor? Thank you very much, council. Any objection? I'm hearing none. It is carried. Thank you very much, council. I do think that this is going to be really good. I think that to the new members on council, I think they're really going to enjoy the opportunity to have their voices heard on a different platform as well. And I think that it'll bring out the best in all of us. Thank you. Moving forward, I'm just going to wait for Christine to pull up the agenda. I have no notices of motion. I have announcements. This is normally where I go around the table and ask if council has any comments. So I'll start in alphabetical order. Councillor Clark, any comments tonight?
No, I don't have any tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. Deputy Mayor?
None. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson?
Excuse me, thank you for the opportunity. The only thing I know that we're focusing on at work, I know tomorrow is Bell Let's Talk Day. So not just the corporate part of the fact that it's Bell Let's Talk Day, but more so the fact of supporting mental health in all of our communities outside of that, just one day a year, but recognizing that mental health is a community issue all year round, and tomorrow is one of those days where we can superficially and corporately support that, but as a counselor, just supporting that every day and supporting that mental health support within our community all the time. So that's my only comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. Councillor Smith?
I have no announcements tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so I've got bylaws. I have bylaws 15.1, 15.2, 15.3, and 15.4, which is a bylaw for rezoning as per our previous meeting. The deputy mayor normally reads the bylaws for us, so I'm asking the deputy mayor if he would so oblige tonight.
I'll read the bylaws. Looking for motions. I move that bylaw 03-21 being a bylaw to enter an agreement with Napanee be read a first, second, and third time, but I'm not going to move that tonight. I'm going to need someone else to move that. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion's been read. I don't think the deputy mayor supports using the Napanee pound. I think he's asking for somebody else to put that motion forward.
Councillor Smith?
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. May I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it for discussion purposes.
Thank you very much. I have a seconder. Councillor Smith, do you have any comments or would you like me to defer?
Deferred, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. And I thank staff for the inquiries they made. It was diligent work and it did clarify some things. I'm looking at the Municipal Act as it's written, particularly section 103, subsection B1. And it says that in this section 103, if a municipality passes a bylaw regulating or prohibiting with respect to being at large or trespassing of an animal, it may provide for the seizure and pounding of the animals being at large or trespass contrary to the bylaw, and the sale of the animals if they are not claimed within a reasonable time. There is nothing in this section of the Municipal Act that allows a municipality, in my opinion, to destroy an animal. It is not there. Also, I think in the agreement with Napanee, in the 21st century, I don't think 3 days is a reasonable time. As a result, the town of Greater Napanee, through its staff, has indicated they are not interested in extending that. I think their bylaw is in a situation where it could be quashed, and on good conscience, as an animal lover, as someone who supports many good charities that do animal work and the best interest of our community, I don't think this is the proper fit. And I would think that we need to look at another option. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a mover for discussion purposes. I do not have an approval of the bylaw. CAO, I'm going to have to ask you for a quick comment, please. So
I don't have any comments. I've provided all the information, the responses from the town. As I said, you know, if this council is not, I mean, we can ask the town of Greater Napanee to amend their bylaws in the way they choose to run their pound. That's a fair statement. We could ask for, you know, but I'm not sure we'll be successful. And I did contact the Belleville Humane Society, which would be another option, but I haven't been successful in obtaining their policies. As far as I know, it's the same, that 3 day is standard. And most people, what I've been told is that most people, if they've lost their pet, automatically would do that. And it doesn't take 3 days to, and then there's the whole keeping the dogs for a length of time. It costs money and so on and so forth. But I can't speak to other towns or the Humane Society's policies. All I can do is provide them for council.
Thank you, CAO. What I was specifically asking for, and I think that I think you might have hit it, is I know because I've asked you to reach out to Quinte Humane Society as well, see if we can get some clarification. I was just wondering if we had got anything back yet that would help council make this decision. We did not. I believe the only other area that might be able to provide this service might be Prince Edward County if council chooses not to accept the services with the Napanee Pound. So there is a motion on the table for discussion. We're still in the discussion phase of this.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I can move to defer this to the next council meeting, it'll give time for staff to do a little more research. And to be clear, I think Greater Napanee and us as a municipality are always talking about bylaws. What we're proposing here is Deseronto is entering into a service agreement, which is a contract, which contracts can work differently than bylaws. Napanee has a bylaw for policing animals within their jurisdiction, and they're entitled under the Municipal Act to pass it. What I'm asking for Deseronto is to enter into a contract which would not violate Napanee's bylaw because they don't have jurisdiction in Deseronto. They're just providing a service for us. So that's the difference. It's a little bit of a different viewpoint here, but Napanee has no right to legislate for Deseronto, and we have no right to legislate for Napanee. But what we can do is enter into contract agreements. Napanee's policies can work for animals captured in Greater Napanee. Our policies could work through this service agreement with our ideas. I also did some research. The pound on Community Road was once operated by the OSPCA. It was painted on the door. I would love a little more background on how Napanee acquired that facility, why the OSPCA disbanded that facility. I didn't see a phone number. I didn't see any contact information. So my big concern here is 3 days. There isn't a big profile on the Napanee website. There isn't a lot of information about how to retrieve an animal. There is no information if an animal is captured. There's just some things here that maybe can be resolved in further discussion. Maybe Napanee has just taken this on, and that's my guess, because that door still had OSPCA still on it, Eastern Controlled Division. So my goal would be to table this right now. We don't have a lot of dog issues in Deseronto. Get a little more information so that our residents and the pet owners in this community feel confident in our decision, and then move forward. That would be where I would like to go next. Thank you.
Thank you. CEO, you unmuted yourself. Was that for a reason?
I don't know if this will alleviate any concerns about our residents being able to have or being aware where they can get their dogs. The people we have, Frontenac Animal Control Services is our contractor and our dog catcher and our animal. Provide our animal. Their number is all over our website. It's the number people know to call when there's a dog at large. They also run the pound for the town of Napanee, and I think that came through in some of the information that the clerk provided us. So, you know, the animal control people do, and we know firsthand as staff in here that they do their best with the tags that we have on them to find the owner. They have the list, they issue the tags, they work together with the Napanee pound very well to make sure that the pets get back to their owners. This is part of the reason that staff have recommended that it be the town of Napanee pound, because it all works sort of as one big package. That been saying that, the front end, I mean, if we don't have a service agreement with Napanee, then we'll have to have a service agreement with someone else so that animal control has a place to take the dogs when they pick them up, because we certainly don't have facilities in town to do that. So I don't know if that helps or hinders any of the concerns that are going on at the table right now.
Okay,
Mayor?
thank you.
Can I ask a question, Councillor Hudson?
Sure.
Like, do we know like the statistics of the dogs that we have coming through the community? Is this necessary? You know, and on the same note, I feel the other regulations are a little aggressive. I guess there's comment and question there.
So what we've got on the table right now is we are required. I'm to assume. I think the deputy mayor quoted something earlier, but from everything that I've been told by staff is we are required to be able to provide. We're required to do something with these animals once we've contracted our agency to assist us with it. It's a matter of what agency are we going to be using to partner with, and do they align with the beliefs of this council? I think what the deputy mayor is asking for is he's asking for a stay on this motion, and he's asking for a little bit more information be provided to council with maybe some other service delivery options, and possibly asking the Napanee pound to see if they would be able to quote us a service delivery similar to I guess better tailored to what council's wishes are. I haven't heard all of council's wishes yet. I've heard from the deputy mayor. I heard a little bit from you, but I haven't heard from council yet. So I believe that's where we're at right now.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, the
Sure.
CAO's last comments really did advance the discussion. So I think maybe a logical step would be to have a representative from Frontenac come to us. We haven't spoken to them since we had them as our bylaw, and they came in to talk about why they should be our bylaw provider, which was 3 or 4 years ago. maybe they can give us some light on their operations in Napanee. If they run that pound, they might have some operational information they can share that Greater Napanee probably wouldn't have. It would be Frontenac as the person running the pound. I think that might be a good way to move forward. And as our contractors, it looks like, you know, one part of the contract to the other makes good sense. Let's listen to what Frontenac says and then pass off our comments to Frontenac. If they're running that pound, they have some management capacity that they can be working with our staff. I think a conversation with Frontenac at this time would be really important before we enter into a service agreement.
I'd be interested in asking for a delegation in order to answer some questions, some council's questions from Frontenac, but I'm not interested only that alone. What I want to see is say that conversation doesn't go as council would wish, and we don't come to consensus. In addition, in parallel to what you're asking for, I would still encourage that staff provides alternate service delivery options for council's consideration at that time as well. We're already started the process. We just haven't got the information back yet. I feel that would probably be the best use of time, instead of us saying after our delegation, yeah, we're just not satisfied. What's our options? Let's do it all now. Let's get it on the table. Let's put a stay on this bylaw for the time being. If council wishes to do so, get all the information. We'll go from there. That would be my thoughts.
I would
If that's
support that
council's
in a
wishes.
motion.
If that is council's wishes.
I would support that as well, Mayor.
So Deputy Mayor, I will ask you to articulate a motion, please. And then I'll ask Councillor Hudson to second that, and then I'll get clarification from council if they want to proceed.
Thank you. I move that we invite Frontenac to come to council as a delegation to outline the pound services they provide in Greater Napanee to provide clarity, at the same time as ask staff to come up with some other options for pound services in our local area.
Thank you very much, sir. Do I have a seconder in Councillor Hudson still?
Actually, if I might amend, not come up with investigate, because there might not be other options. Yeah,
absolutely. Councillor Hudson, do you agree with the motion?
I do.
Thank you very much. Any objection from council with that motion? The motion is to stay this current conversation. I don't think we're in any dire or immediate need. I believe we have a little bit of time here that we can dig a little deeper. Any objection from council? I'm hearing none. Motion carried. I'm going back to the agenda. I have the next bylaw, please. Authorize the signing letter for the gas tax program. Council's wishes. Deputy Mayor, you're muted.
Councillor Hudson, I would put it on table for discussion.
The bylaw?
No,
So
I would approve the bylaw.
10-21?
Sorry.
Yeah,
move
No,
that, yeah.
I investigated the bylaw and I would approve the bylaw.
Then I'll
Okay,
second that.
So I have a first, second.
I
and
wasn't sure if we were going to discuss this bylaw as well. I apologize, Mayor.
No problem. So you're moving that bylaw and it's seconded by the deputy. Any objection from anybody else? Hearing none, motion is passed. The next is a bylaw to enter in the agreement with Hastings County. We have a previous motion that we would accept the agreement as long as it does not disrupt any other service, disrupt the current service that we're receiving.
Mayor?
What are council's wishes?
Just for expedition's sake, maybe can we move this to our meeting next Wednesday as a special item?
So we're gonna ask staff to get clarification that by doing this, it's not going to affect our current agreements or our current service delivery.
I think it'll be a quick call and then we can go.
Okay, so that's the motion on the table by the deputy. Does he have a seconder for his motion?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Any objection or any conversation? Carried. Lastly, we have 15.4 bylaw to amend zoning. From
I
our
move that
previous meeting.
bylaw be read a first, second, and third time.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please?
Counselor Smith?
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Any objection?
Just a discussion point, sir, if we can.
Sure.
I appreciate the importance of the council's unanimity on this. This bylaw, of course, I think protects everyone's interests the best it can, the developer, the community, the neighborhood. It provides, I think, enough safety and security that there is going to be more discussion. My one question is, does it cover us enough on development and development charges and cost of improvement of infrastructure? We have the H there, I know, and that holds everything until that is covered, to my knowledge. Is my
Yes.
knowledge correct?
It is the same as my understanding, but I will ask the CAO to confirm our understanding is correct.
Yeah,
That the holding provision would
The holding-
give us.
the
yeah.
holding provision is on there until council makes a motion to move it. And that
Thank
will
you.
only be at such time as when the site plan agreement's in place and everybody's satisfied, and then he will be able to apply for a building permit.
And can I ask one more question? It seems a little bit redundant, but I want to cover all the bases. It says in the bylaw, all other provisions of the residential type 3 zone and bylaw 1393 shall apply. Now, it is conceivable that council would like some improvements. Does this allow the developer to say, okay, I'm going to need an extra 12 units on top of the 10 units that I'm building, so I'm going to make a 4-story building? That would comply with our bylaw. Does this lock into the low-rise 10-unit as presented in the plan?
Now, that's not the intention of this bylaw. The rezoning is based on the information that's been presented with the
Okay.
10 plus, with the exception that is outlined for, I can't remember what it is, something about
The parking
60
aisle. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the only exception. That means everything else in the R3 zone applies. But
Okay.
it doesn't mean he would have to go through a whole other process to do something different.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any other council before I ask if there's any objection to passing this bylaw? I'm hearing no questions expressed. Any objection? Hearing none, it is carried. Next item of business is going into closed session under section 239 for one matter pertaining to personnel. May I have a motion, please, to go into closed session?
Everhardis?
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder, please?
Second that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Clark, any objection? Hearing none, carried. Thank you to the community. We are going into closed session now.